What's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Spicy Drip back at it again with another vid. Now you read the title, you know what's about to go down. I'm gonna be telling y'all about my McDonald's days. Let's get into it. Before I start this vid, I want to make a disclaimer. This video isn't meant to bash McDonald's or discourage anyone from working there. I'm simply just sharing my personal experience and how working at McDonald's has changed my perspective on hard work and social skills. Now that we got that out of the way, let's dive right in. So it was July 2019. I had just graduated high school, which by the way was probably the highlight of 2019 for me, considering what was about to go down in 2020. A month has passed since my graduation and I had no idea what I was going to do. All I knew was I didn't want to go back to school, and I knew eventually I had to get a job. You know, my dad even had a talk with me. He said, you got to be out of the house 8 hours a day, and if you're not, start packing your bags. You know, go to school or get a job. Either way, 8 hours. You got to be out. You got to be out and about. So I started applying at every job I could possibly find, and nobody ever called me back. You know, I was just applying to Walgreens, Subway, Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, retail, like Target, the mall. You know, all the stores in the mall. I basically applied to them all, and nothing. You know, no callbacks, no notifications, no messages, nothing. I saw McDonald's was hiring, but it was a last resort. All I knew was that I needed a job. So I applied, got a call the next day, scheduled an interview, and whoop, I got the job. I remember feeling nervous because, you know, it was my first job and I didn't know what to expect. But, you know, they started training me, and I mainly worked on grill and table, which means I was in charge of cooking the meat, dropping fried products like nuggets, McChicken, crispy chicken, you know, all that stuff. And of course, making the sandwiches. I want to talk about how it was in the beginning. I remember being overwhelmed because the first time I saw the screen where all the orders appear, it was the first time I just seen order on top of order on top of order, and it just kept coming. It was an ongoing cycle. I never seen a screen that could just hold so much data, so much words. It's like just order on top of order, 12 cheeseburgers, 15 McChickens, 40 nuggets, 3 Big Macs, all slaughterhouse. You know what I mean? It was crazy. I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, I don't know how I'm going to make it in this place. I don't know how I'm going to survive. But my trainer, who then later became my manager, told me, if you're going to work in this kitchen, you got to develop a sense of urgency and speed. The way he emphasized speed, it was like his dying words. It was like he said it with a purpose. Speed. So I started learning how to make the burgers, started memorizing how they were assembled, how long to cook the meat, when to drop more fried products, and within 3 months I was able to slightly improve my performance. And honestly, it was going alright. You know, I got full time, was working OT, future seemed bright for me. I worked mostly morning shifts, but there would be times when we would struggle. I'm sure y'all are familiar with McDonald's having massive lines. You know, those lines that wrap around the whole restaurant, or lines that even go out into the parking lot, sometimes even into the street, kind of like In-N-Out sometimes. And the way it works is we have 3 rushes. There's our morning rush, our lunch rush, and our dinner rush. Now let's set out the examples. Let's say from 9 to 11 a.m. that's our morning rush. Then from 12 to 2 p.m. that's our lunch rush. And then let's say from 5 to 8 p.m. that's our dinner rush. Not many people were available, which always left us understaffed in the morning. You know, there was a point in time when there was one person taking orders, one person making the food, and one person, you know, handing out the orders. In a perfect McDonald's, like in a well-organized McDonald's, there's one person in back booth taking orders. There's about 3 to 4 people in the kitchen making food. And there's 2 people in the front prepping the orders, bagging them, you know, getting the drinks ready. And there's another person that's handing out the orders. I can almost guarantee that it's extremely rare for a local McDonald's to have this type of staff. Please correct me if I'm wrong. At least that's how it was in my area. Now I want to talk about the leadership, aka the managers. Obviously, I'm gonna leave all names out of this. I'm not trying to start any type of drama. Like I said before, I'm just sharing my personal experience, so I'm not going to involve too many people. That being said, we had some atrocious managers. There was one specific manager that I couldn't stand because they had a massive attitude problem. They would belittle us, they would make us feel incompetent, and to be honest, honestly, don't know how they became a manager. Their people skills were just so low and made me question, like, it felt like a complaining customer became a manager at our McDonald's. That's how it felt like. But I digress. There were 4 managers that I personally think were the best. Though one of them was lazy sometimes, they'd spend a little too much time in the office sitting down. In terms of leadership skills and guiding their team, motivating us, making sure that we all had what we needed, making sure that everyone was cool, checking up on everyone every now and then. Their skills were top notch. Shout out to all you guys, even though you're not gonna know who you are because I'm not naming nobody, but shout out to y'all nonetheless. Now let's talk about our performances. Personally, I always thought I could do better. Till this day, I'm not that satisfied with my performance at McDonald's. I always thought myself as mediocre. I always had those cool coworkers that push me, that boost me, that hype me up, saying like, dang, you're hella fast. Because I had no choice. You had to wrap the burgers fast and get them out. But yeah, shout out to all my coworkers that hyped me up and boosted me, and shout out to all the coworkers that I trained. Appreciate the love and support. I'll admit, there were days where I just didn't want to be there. There were days where I didn't even want to try. There were days where I was just out of it. It's work. Who doesn't have those days? I can guarantee that everyone has that one day where something goes wrong and then something else goes wrong, and then just everything starts piling on like orders, like the orders we get. And then when that happens, you don't want to be at work. You don't want to deal with customers. You don't want to deal with people in general. So it discourages you. It gives you no motivation whatsoever, and it just makes you not want to try. And I had those days a lot. But I definitely had to check myself and reassure myself that I was indeed hired for this job for a reason, and it would be a wasted opportunity not to take it. More often than not, I would focus too much on my speed rather than my quality, which led to customers complaining about me and even coworkers. But there was people that just didn't care, all the time. They would go there, they would do a sloppy job. They'd give like 25%. There'd be other people that would move 0 miles per hour, and it got irritating, man. You couldn't help but yell at them, just like, hurry up. There are people outside, and you over here moving like a sloth. You moving so sluggish that how did you get hired? Obviously I never said these things to someone's face, but and there'd also be people that would stress themselves out. Because when you work at McDonald's, you are never going to do one job. You're going to be trained in multiple things, and you're going to have to learn how to juggle a million jobs. That's an exaggeration, but if you worked at McDonald's, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there'd be people that would cry. They'd go on their break. Some would even go to the bathroom, and they'd come out, and you see get all teary-eyed. You'd even see on some of the girls the mascara just dripping down, the eyeshadow, and it's actually kind of funny. I'm playing. It wasn't funny. It's not funny. Alright, now I want to talk about the customers. Yeah. Customers. Where do I even start? I can understand to an extent their frustration. It's easy for me to empathize with someone that gets something that they didn't order. I can understand someone waiting too long and seeing other people that came after them get their orders before them. I can even understand some of the employees' attitudes with the customers, and that's what causes them to show attitude back. But some of these people make me question humanity. And You don't have to work at McDonald's to know what I'm talking about. What annoyed me most though was when we would ask people to park and they refused to park, and all that did was hold up the line. So when you think about it, it was a customer's fault for not cooperating that the line got bigger and people had to wait longer. Just saying. But I want to stay neutral. I want to dive deep into this section. I want to share this from a customer's perspective and a former employee's perspective. Kind of analyzing both sides a little bit. A lot of people like to make the argument, well, get my order right and then I won't complain. That's 100% true. I can 100% agree with that. It's facts. It's, they pay, you get their order, and y'all go about your day. Here's what the customers don't take into account though. Usually the person taking orders takes orders from two lanes. At least that's how it was in our restaurant. I can't explain what it's like just taking massive orders all day from two separate lanes, having to communicate with the employees up front while also having to jump back to taking orders. The same thing applies with the people making the food. Customers don't see our screens, which is flooded with orders on top of orders, including online orders, DoorDash orders, and special requests. Now imagine one person being in charge of making everything of what I just said. It's chaos. It causes just a bunch of stress, and then when customers are rushing you, your managers are rushing you, your coworkers are rushing you, and you get this feeling of discourage, incompetence. You start thinking like, am I gonna be able to survive in the real world? If I can't even do my job right at a fast food restaurant, am I gonna be able to handle school or a bigger job? Is what's gonna happen with me? At the end of the day, sometimes a restaurant is understaffed, which then leads the employees to making simple mistakes, and sometimes customers are low on patience and it causes them to act irrationally. A quick message to the customer and the employee. Above everything else, please make sure that you guys both prioritize patience and respect. These are people you're talking to, and next time you yell at an employee for getting an order wrong, or next time you get mad at a customer for yelling at you, you know, consider putting yourself in their shoes. And, on a side note, one customer can ruin your day. We come to the final segment, which is the relationships I've built with my coworkers and my experience working with them. Overall, it was a pleasure working with all my coworkers. Before working at McDonald's, I was introverted and shy. Back in my high school days, I was always that loner kid with their hoodie on and the headphones on, and I'd stand in the corner all by myself. And I had friends, but I chose not to associate myself that often. During lunch, I would spend time in the library where nobody would go. Most the people I would talk to the most were my teachers, and that would be like one word responses like, "How you doing? Good. Did you do your homework?" Yeah. It took some time, but I eventually got along with most of my coworkers, if not all. There were some I had a few issues with, and there's some I had big issues with. Again, not calling people out, just saying. But I want to touch on that. Some of the coworkers I had big issues with. It took me a while for me to realize that communication is key. Sometimes you guys disagree on something and you don't always see eye to eye. The best solution is to keep an open mind and to listen to each other and to be civil. And those coworkers that I mentioned that I had issues with, we just ended up agreeing to disagree. And to this day, I have no problems with any of my coworkers. I wish them the best. I hope they continue to thrive. And to this day, I hit most of them up, and they're all doing pretty good. So like I said before, shout out to all my coworkers. I love y'all. It was litty working with y'all. No cap. It was cool though, like working with people and those same people evolved into friends. And it was dope when I would hang out with my coworkers outside of work. There was one time when a group of my friends slash coworkers, we all told our boss that we wanted to leave early because, you know, we all had emergencies, that we all had a different story. And she let us go. And we ended up getting some boba. We just chilled. We just chilled in my car, drank our boba, got some ice cream, and it was lit. It was cool. They say you shouldn't date coworkers. Well, I'm ashamed to admit that I try to get at some of my female coworkers, and as you can probably guess, I got curved. But it's alright though. I'm chilling. But you know who you are. And I want you to know that you broke my heart. I'm playing. Nah. Like I said, I wish them the best. I really do. Like, matter of fact, I think I was just texting one of them before making this video, and you know, I consider them close friends. Some of them I got deeply close with, and honestly, I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong with working with people and then realizing that maybe you could be more than coworkers. Just like when you realize maybe you could be more than friends. Yeah, when you get past all the hard work, the struggle, it becomes a roller coaster. Sometimes it literally feels like you're just hanging out with friends and you just happen to be at work. Working at McDonald's, it taught me a lot. It made me realize my humanity, and most importantly, it taught me the values of working hard. It also taught me how important it is to treat others the way you want to be treated. You know, this doesn't just apply at work. It applies throughout your whole life. Whether you're a customer, whether you're an employee, whether you're a manager, treat others the way you want to be treated. That's the golden rule right there. Every time I go to a fast food place, I always make sure that I prioritize patience and respect, like I mentioned before, because I've been there before and I know what it's like. After 11 months of working at Mickey D, I finally decided to move on and take the next big step in my life, just open a new chapter. I can confidently say that McDonald's shaped me into a hard worker, and I'm forever grateful for the opportunity and the blessings that God gave me during that job. Thank you guys for listening to my McDonald's days. I hope this was somewhat interesting to y'all. I hope y'all have a better understanding of what it's really like working at McDonald's. I know it was all over the place, and if you caught my eyes kind of like looking down and it looked like I was reading off a screen, it's because I was. You know, I wasn't gonna call myself out and expose myself, but I actually wrote a script for this vid because this is the first time talking at length, and I'm not really good of, you know, expressing my thoughts, and I'm not really good at saying what's on my mind. You know, I feel like I have to write it down and just kind of take bullet points. So, you know, that's why if you notice, that's because I was checking my notes. Wanted to make sure that I didn't stutter too much, or I didn't jump back and forth, or I didn't repeat myself, which I'm pretty sure I did. You know, call me out if you noticed that, or if you noticed me contradicting myself. But to all my McDonald's employees out there, comment your experience. You know, tell me what it was like for you working at McDonald's. And if you disagree with anything in this video, tell me. That's what the comment section is for. It's open, it's free. You know, say what's on your mind the way I said what was on my mind. But I hope you guys enjoyed this vid. Stay tuned for more Spicy Drip content. I'm Spicy Drip. Hope y'all have a good day. We out.